What's going on, guys? Today we are working on a good customer of ours, Alexi's S13. He drifts his car pretty often. Actually, he's probably one of, Chris, you'd say he drifts the most out of all of our customers? Yeah, he probably drifts the most out of all of our customers. So he's been running a, I guess, stock ECU, stock SR20. We put a T28 turbo on it maybe last year. And he's just been running like stock boost levels, nothing crazy. And now he finally wants to take it to the next level. So I was looking at all of his parts and I was like, this is kind of a common upgrade we do for S13 SR20. So let's take a look at the stuff he's got and see what we're doing. So it's not anything super crazy. This is just kind of like we don't have a package for this stuff, but this is kind of like almost what you would call like a stage 1 or stage 2 type deal for an SR20. We're gonna change the injectors, we're gonna put a standalone ECU on it, we're gonna change the wire harness, and it has a T28 turbo on it already. So the T28 turbo is kind of a part of this whole thing. Now this setup is kind of really good for a street car. It's not any crazy boost. Even if the motor's unopened, I'm pretty sure his motor is unopened, the bottom end. So the T28 is a S15 turbo, so it's pretty factory. It's nothing super crazy. So you shouldn't be hurting the engine that bad at all, honestly. All right, let's go into the first thing. We got a Wiring Specialties engine harness. So this is their Pro harness. We have these on the website, but it is kind of annoying because there's a lot of options. So I don't know if all the options are on our website yet, but we'll try to get them up there. Not too much to show here until it's on the car, really. So these Pro harnesses are really nice. I mean, they've come a long way, these Wiring Specialties harnesses. They have a OEM series harness and they have a Pro series harness. Now the Pro series harness, you pretty much can put any different modifications on it. You can tell them which ECU you have. You can have them wire in the injector wires. They can convert it to MAP sensor versus MAF sensor. So it comes with a lot of stuff, even an OEM style grommet for the firewall, which is really nice. But yeah, you can see here that they have this thing pinned out for our link ECU already, which is pretty nice. And then everything else is pretty straightforward with any engine harness. It's kind of hard for me to even see what's going on here without installing it. But they have a lot of stuff marked, like you can see here, boost solenoid. So they already have flying leads for a boost solenoid. So, and I think we actually have one here from Link. So now Chris can just wire this in relatively easily. They also will have the air temp sensor wiring on here. And we also opted for a grounding kit, which is an option on their website. So that just helps ground out the engine and the harness. Yeah, everything else is pretty straightforward. Let me see what this is. Yeah, intake air temp sensor, plug already wired to fit the Link sensor, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, like I said, it's really plug and play. I mean, obviously you're gonna have to do some things, but it's like you already have the injector wires already there, which is awesome. It takes a lot of the labor time out. We pretty much don't do any swaps anymore without getting a Wiring Specialties harness because we personally never really had problems. And if we do have a problem, it's something relatively simple that we can figure out fast versus tearing the whole wire harness apart, rewiring everything, extending it or shortening it because it's right-hand drive, left-hand drive, all that. It's way easier and way more cost-effective to just buy a harness now. Moving on, we have injector dynamics. I'm assuming these are ID 1050s. Yep, ID 1050s. So injector dynamics is pretty much the standard for top feed injectors as far as what we're using. But yeah, they come with everything. They even come with connectors in case you don't have them, but Wiring Specialties wired us connectors already, so pretty awesome. But yeah, they come with pins, everything you need to wire these to your stock harness if you have to. Stickers, and then the beautiful ID 1050 injectors. But yeah, these are Bosch injectors, by the way. We're gonna pair those with the Radium top mount, or a top feed fuel rail for S13. Radium makes a lot of good stuff. We've been using their stuff for a few years now. Yeah, nothing crazy. just an aluminum piece. Converts your OEM side feed injectors to top feed injectors, which is something you definitely want to do. Not completely necessary for an upgrade of this sort, because you could get some higher rated side feed injectors. He's basically future-proof in this build. That way, you know, you have this on there, you have top feeds. ID 1050s, unless you're going over like 500 horsepower, you're not gonna need anything else. So he's pretty much future-proof in this thing. Radium also includes all the brackets you're gonna need to convert this. They also got their little I think they call these injector seat bushings to convert it to the top feed ones. And then just the mounts and everything. And you can mount this to a stock intake manifold. You can mount it to a Greddy intake manifold. We did that like a couple weeks ago. So it is possible to do whatever you want with this thing. And then I think they have provisions to mount a gauge on here as well. Yeah, you can mount a gauge on here. We usually don't do that. We have the gauge mounted on the FPR, but yeah, we're probably gonna have to convert this thing to AN lines. So we're gonna do most likely stainless steel or something along those lines, AN fuel lines, while we're doing this. So the whole fuel system's gonna be redone. And then probably the most important part of all this is the link ECU and the boost control solenoid. We went over that. The air temp sensor that needs to be put in, because this is going to now be a MAP car, MAP, instead of we're getting rid of the MAF and we're doing a MAP, which is a lot easier to work with, honestly. If you break an intercooler pipe at the track, something like that, the car's still going to run. G4X ECU. It's a plug and play ECU, but it is a standalone. Really nice packaging too. Okay, so there's the one thing about the G4X ECUs. You have to use the stock case for your stock ECU. So basically, just take this out, pop your stock ECU out of the case, and then replace it with this. And then Link has some awesome software, very user-friendly software. So we usually put the base tune on here, and then we end up letting the customer decide where they want to bring it tuned. We transport the car sometimes. Alexi wants to drive the car, so we're gonna put a base tune on it, and then he's gonna drive the car to Freedom Motorsports to get it tuned by Andy. Yeah, so we'll shoot to some clips of installing some of this stuff, and then we'll see how it runs with the base tune, and that'll pretty much be that. But this is one of our more common upgrades for SR20s, so just wanted to give you guys a little insight to what we do. Just to show how clean this car is. When you put a I like to call them fart cannons, but when you put on a regular style muffler on these cars, you gotta cut the bracket that it's like a tow hook that's right here on your exhaust hanger bracket. I have never seen an exhaust hanger bracket be unbolted from a car in the Northeast in my entire life. This is the first one, so this is probably one of the cleanest chassis I've ever seen here. There's just usually this is all rotted out, like 100%. And this, Jesus just unbolted this thing. Cause you got lucky. Cause usually you have to cut it off while it's on the car.
Not on Rob's old car, I just had to heat it up. I did that.
Heat it up? Yeah. Oh, to get it off. Yeah. But it was seized still. So I guess sometimes they come off, but I've personally never seen one come off. This is like the cleanest I've ever seen this area of a 240 in my life. And there's really no rust on this thing anywhere else. This is a Survivor, but the way he drives, it ain't gonna be a Survivor much longer. Yeah, he drifts very often. Look, he's even got a mic back here for his exhaust note.
Oh yeah.
So you could hook up the mic right here. So this is the exhaust hanger, and then I'm lost right now. Let me go look at what he's got over here. So it goes like that. Mm-hmm. And then this goes to the, so this is the tow hook. This gets bolted on first, and then this hanger gets bolted to the tow hook bracket. I didn't even know that, because all this is usually just one piece by the time I see it.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Repaint it.
Yeah, put some paint on that and then throw it back on, and the exhaust is ready to go on. That was the one thing we didn't tell you. It is getting a Tomei catback at the same time. I guess he wants to get rid of the blast pipes.
It made it worse.
What, made it louder? Oh, didn't see you there.
Bruh.
We forgot to film every single thing we did on the car, so that's good. So we're just gonna go review some of it right now, and that'll be that. Well, Chris is gonna start it.
Fire in the hole!
The starter's broken as well. We have 3 cars in the shop right now with broken Mishimoto starters. Thank you, Mishimoto, for not fixing the starters that you've been selling everyone for the last 2 years that have been broken. I love hearing them. They're just broken as shit, starting up in the shop every day. Makes every car sound like shit. That's a side note. Everything else we did on the car is great. Fuel rails installed. I don't know why it's running. Oh, I guess he's just trying to see if the igniter worked. The igniter decided to break as well on this car. Chris, you want to explain what you did to this thing?
Hi. Can you hear me?
I just told him about the beautiful Mishimoto starter it has.
Oh, yeah. What did I do? I don't remember.
No, you did the fuel rail and the injectors, but what is all this? You added all these lines, or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, obviously, stock fuel line. Wanted to keep it serviceable. So, just regular hose. Well, this is push-on hose.
Well, he had a weird setup on here because he has some crazy
Fuel pressure sensor.
gauge with a crazy old school sensor. So we tried to not get rid of anything because we don't want to change everything on the inside. Mm-hmm. This usually is not mounted here though.
No, he put that there.
Yeah, these are usually mounted lower. This is kind of in the same spot. I don't know. Everything usually looks a lot cleaner, but I'm trying to not change up the sensors he has, so did the best we could on that. How are these radium fuel rails?
So radium fuel rail with the ID 1050s, right? 1050?
Yeah.
1050. Wiring specialties harness.
Oh, you did the whole harness, yeah.
Yeah. It's converted from mass airflow to mass air pressure. So speed density with the IAT sensor. What else did I change?
Since I'm complaining a lot in this video, why don't we complain about this too? Does no one make a mount for this thing?
I thought you got one.
Who did I say had the mount?
Haltech.
Haltech.
I told you Haltech has one.
Okay, so Haltech makes a mount.
Well, there's other people that make mounts,
Okay.
like 3D printed ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if people are not making mounts, they should make I mean, why does it not come with a mount? I could not tell you.
I don't know.
Like, does Link make a mount? If you make a mount, please just sell it with the Mac valve, because it's kind of a pain in the ass to just get a Mac valve and then we don't have a mount for it. This car's got to get tuned this weekend, so we pretty much just ghetto rigged it there for now until we can get one. But yeah, everything else went pretty well. Was it really only the injectors and the
Injectors? Well, the ECU. Well, injectors, fuel rail, ECU.
Yeah.
And then welding in the bunk for the intake air temp.
Yeah, when you go map sensor, you got to put an air intake temp sensor as well. So that's mounted down here. We try to hide them underneath the cold pipe of the intercooler. And then usually we like to remove the MAF sensor, but just to save money, we just kept everything here, and it's basically just
unplugged.
It's unplugged, just being used as an air intake filter mount. Yeah, it's got a Link ECU. You got the base tune on it. It's all ready to go. Mm-hmm. He wants to drive it to the tune. I usually don't recommend doing that, but again, he's going to save money by not paying us to tow it there. So
yeah.
Alexi's focused on paying for events, not really focused on trying to
maintenance. Spend
all the money on everything on the inside, even though he does spend a shit ton of money here. Yeah, he does spend a lot of money here. Anything else to mention on this car? I mean, it's a T28 set. That was the whole point of this video anyway. I mean, this is kind of like I don't know. I think I called it a stage 2 or something. kind of a setup for an SR20 because you have the T28, but you put top feed fuel injectors on it, which is definitely a more consistent fuel setup than side feeds. A lot of tuners complain about side feed injectors.
I think this would be considered like a stage 2 plus.
Yeah, something like that. Because now all you have to do now is just change the turbo and you're gonna make more power. So you already got the fuel system for it. Those are 1050s. How much could those put? Probably near 500 maybe, I would say, comfortably.
What?
Those injectors?
The price?
No, like how much power they can push.
Oh, 1050s? Probably. But you're not hitting 500 on that SR.
No, not with this. I mean, you could with a different turbo.
And a built block?
You just leave the block until it decides not to be one piece anymore.
Josh DeLee's what?
Yeah, I mean, you could push it. I don't know, around 400 or 500 horsepower is when there's gonna be problems. But yeah, he's ready to go now. So you can just change the turbo out and get a retune and he'll make more power, so.
Well, everything we did was we resealed the engine a long time ago. Obviously the new stuff. Toge factory oil catch can. We added a oil cooler. I think we also did the power steering coil. No, we didn't.
Yeah, he opted for the whole Toge factory setup: valve cover, oil catch can, and this is the S13.4 valve cover setup, right? So it's there. Instead of modifying, we used to but TF Works used to modify the valve covers. They used to chop the S14 one right here, weld on a S13 one. The reason you do that is because of the
baffling.
Upgraded baffling and the valve cover. That's why there's a little notch here on the S14 and S15. But then they started getting these produced. So now you can just buy these from TF Works already done, and you have better baffling. And I do believe this whole setup actually solved whatever problem he was having, right? Wasn't he having some crazy blow-by problem?
Yeah. He said it smokes out the catch can, but it's supposed to.
Yeah, a lot of cars smoke out the catch can, especially if they have blow-by, and I guarantee this motor has some blow-by because it's beat to So, I mean, he uses this engine a lot. Like, he uses this car a lot for drifting. He only uses it for drifting, really. So, it's going to have blow-by. God knows how many miles are on this engine, too. So, but yeah, it really did reduce the problem. What was the problem originally? Was it just filling up a catch can with oil? I think it was.
He would do 3 to 5 laps, and then it would sit, and then he would start it, and then it would smoke out the exhaust.
Yeah, it seemed like
burning oil.
And then we did a compression test, and it was fine. And I was like, I still think it's the engine. It's so much. There's so much blow-by. It seemed like.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up just doing this anyway because he wanted to do the setup. So we did that first, and it solved his problem. At least it seems that way. So definitely a good upgrade to do. I don't even know if we have all this shit on our website, but we probably should put it on there. But yeah, as far as the injectors and the T28 setup, it's all good to go. He's going to get a tune this weekend, I hope, from Andy at Freedom Motorsports. And then you'll see him at pretty much all the local tracks. You'll see him at RSD, I'm sure. You'll see him at, what's that one that Carl used to go to out in the middle of PA? Evergreen. And you'll probably see him at Raceway Park. So his name's Alexi. If you see him, make sure you said you saw him in this video. Even though he's probably going to see the video too, but.
He probably is.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and let us know what else you want to see. Since we never really show much car stuff, I figured we might as well show you guys one of the most common modifications to an SR, which is a T28 turbo, fuel system upgrade, Link ECU. I would say Link is probably the most popular one right now. Yeah. That's that. See you next time.